Welcome back, ARK players, to a brand new video. Now today we have official information on the Unreal Engine 5.7 upgrade, which is coming to ARK Survival Ascended. We have an official release date in this post as well, which, when I say official release date, when it's Studio Wildcard, anything could change, but it seems to be pretty, soon. So yeah, we're going to read through all of this today. If you guys do enjoy today's video, it really supports me if you wouldn't mind dropping a like and subscribing if you're new around here. And let's get in with the news on Unreal Engine 5.7 upgrade. So this post was an interview with Jeremy from WCCF Tech, and this is system performance and Unreal Engine 5.7 improvements. So Jeremy goes on to say, finally, the raw system performance. When the game came out, it didn't run very well. It still doesn't run as well as it should, frankly. But we're up to 50% more up performance-wise over the initial release of the game on the same hardware. So it's a really significant improvement, but ultimately yet not where we want to be. Where are we going to get more performance from then? A big part of it is actually with Epic's latest version of Unreal Engine 5.7, which introduces some serious new performance-orientated improvements and systems. Version 5.6 did as well, but we're still on 5.5. So to get the performance improvement of a combined 5.6 and 5.7 is going to gain us about another 30 to 40% on both the GPU and the CPU. Unreal Engine 5.6 did a lot of render thread optimizations where they made things work much better in parallel between the render thread, the game thread, the GPU and the CPU, and there are other major architectural structures there. And in 5.7 they added an entirely new system for how to draw larger foliage and demonstrated in the Witcher 4 demo. For example, we're actually able to make use of that directly. We have this working internally, we are just still preparing it for release. It's going to take a few months to work out all the kinks and other parts of the engine that have been upgraded, but we can already say that it's about a third performance gain of our existing maps, and due to this is the new use of nanite tessellation and the culling system that Epic has introduced with 5.7 for the foliage, or foliage, I got it right, did I? Probably not. We're really excited about that. It's as close to a magic bullet as you're going to get at this point. It's one of those rare cases where it's an unalloyed win. There are no real caveats or asterisks. It works way better than what existed before, and we don't have to sacrifice anything, memory or otherwise, to make it work. So it was as close to a magic solution for some of those performance problems as possible, and we expect the Unreal Engine 5.7 upgrade to ARK to roll out by the end of March 2026. I've heard that before. It's so extreme, in fact, that on the side we've been exploring doing a Switch 2 port of ARK Survival Ascended. We have that running internally, and we found that the Switch 2 port was only doable with 5.7 with those performance upgrades. It wasn't possible otherwise. It was that significant of a performance improvement. Is that everything we'll ever want to do with performance? No, but server performance needs to continue to get better. But it's one of the major things people are going to see early next year as a part of the ongoing process. I mean, Switch 2 ARK Survival Ascended is cool, but to be honest, they only just released the full version of Survival Evolved, and they kind of just left that afterwards, I think, after they completed it. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do Ascended on the Switch 2, but to be honest, if this is where I'm going to be brutally honest to them. I mean, the Switch over the years has been an absolute mess, and you know, and the mobile version of ARK Evolved is a mess as well. Like, not for like the performance, but like all of the, you know, things you have to pay for in game. I'm sorry to say, it's a mess. It is, and I won't change my point and my view on that, because I mean, yes, I haven't played it since it launched, but everything I get sent on that, I would like, I like the Switch. I don't have a Switch 2. I play on the Steam Deck. I just don't think it's something that they should really be focusing on right now. But if it's not going to take that much extra work, then I guess port it. It's crazy to think that we launched ARK on 5.2. So we're really suffering from some of the newness of those nanite systems, foliage systems, and virtual shadow maps. It was all very inefficient. It technically worked, but it really wasn't the performant to the level necessary to render these large, vegetation-heavy scenes in an open-world environment. It got significantly better in 5.5, and the improvements in 5.6 were not directly related to the foliage, but were more render thread and parallelism related significant changes there to the architecture. Then 5.7 introduced an entirely new system for culling nanite and rendering large nanite foliage scenes. And it's not automatic. You have to change a few settings to use it on the content side, but they're very easy settings to change. They didn't even require reauthoring the content from scratch, and we've been dealing with other things that we have to prepare for the engine. Essentially, there are just other changes Epic made that we're still making sure we don't introduce new bugs with. The other thing that's annoying is every time we do a major engine upgrade, we have to force all the mods to recook. It's something we can do on the back end. Because of these changes to the material system, we have to trigger a process that takes a couple of weeks to recook the 6,000 or so mods that have been uploaded. We are able to do that automatically because we retain these source files, but it's a bit of a process, and then we have to do a pretty exhaustive testing process after that to make sure that they generally still work. So it's going to take a few months in 2026 before we're ready to fully roll that out. But yes, we are going to be seeing very real performance gains. Again, the game does run about 40 to 50% better versus the original October launch, but we're going to see another approximate 40% gain in the first half of next year. Epic has done the hard engineering there, but we're able to take advantage of that work and get it out to players. And then the question goes back, that's great to hear, honestly. Unreal Engine games are notorious for their stuttering. Do you reckon these improvements will rid ARK Survival Ascended and most UE games as whole from most stutters? Jeremy goes on to say, it should be better, but I don't know that stuttering will be completely eliminated because of two factors. One, ARK in particular, some of the stuttering is due to the initiation of actors, which cannot be multi-threaded. When you are playing an online game, you go to a new area and a giant mega base that someone has built gets loaded in on the client. It really has to be done instantaneously as soon as we get that data. We could possibly try to multi-thread it, but Unreal is pretty bad about network actor installation multi-threading. When the client receives an actor like a dino or building over the network, it pretty much wants to immediately spawn that to start receiving the associated network data. Now multiply that by 50,000 when you've got a 50,000 structures to spawn, and you receive them in a big batch of data all in a single frame. As you can imagine, that's going to result in a hitch. It's nothing to do with graphics or background loading of the world. It's literally just like I've received 50,000 game objects over the network that I need to prepare them to play. And that's probably the main stuttering people receive when playing online, especially associated with large bases. There's another kind of stuttering associated with background loading of the world. A lot of that has been eliminated in more recent versions of Unreal and smoothed out. But there's one particular to Unreal Engine games in general that relates to shader caching. We don't basically do pre-shader caching. I think it has to generate some shader code on the fly from the intermediate shader code, which is the HLSL, basically, to prepare it for uploading to the GPU. It's specific to your GPU hardware, and that can result in stalls. A lot of Unreal Engine games eliminate that by pre-caching all the shaders they can for your hardware on startup. That's why many Unreal Engine games start up, you'll go through the shader caching loading screen for another 3 minutes while it builds all the shaders for you. The issue with ARK is we've got so much content that I don't think it will be practical in terms of how long it would take. Could you imagine how long the pre-shaders would take on ARK? Second, we also do modding, which makes it even more unpredictable what kind of materials and shaders we're going to need to compile. Modding would make it very ineffective, and even if we did it for the base game content, there would still be related stalls because we do allow people to create custom cosmetics, and those get downloaded dynamically by default. So you essentially can encounter people with cosmetics on their character and their bases as you play the game. Those have completely unique materials and therefore unique shaders. So finally, there is no real way to pre-cache those because we don't know what they are in advance. Over time, Epic might be able to thread those things even better, but I do think hitching in a game that doesn't pre-compile all the shaders is always going to exist to some extent. I will say that it's gotten a lot better since the early versions of Unreal Engine 5, and we do expect at least one major engine upgrade per year going forward. We've got a good sense of how to do it reasonably efficiently from our upgrade from 5.2 to 5.5 last June, and we kind of know how to do it relatively smoothly now. So we will do it again to 5.7 in March, and then wherever Epic is in early to mid 2027 as well. So there is one more thing before they go and talk about the Switch 2. Before I talk about the Switch 2, I should note that the 5.7 improvements are not PC specific. Most of them apply to both consoles as well, and we are looking forward to releasing this upgrade for the Xbox and PlayStation player base who aren't still quite at the level of performance we would like them to be at. This is going to put those over the top in terms of getting them the best possible performance state, which is a solid, unbreakable 60 FPS that the gap is largely covered by the Unreal Engine 5.6 and 5.7 upgrades. So, ARK players, let's see what happens. 5.7 is expected to come in 2 months, March 2026. Will it be delayed? Will it come? That's going to be a very big question for ARK players. Really looking forward to sharing more on this with you guys. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.